You know that feeling, right? You walk into your basement or look up at the ceiling and you see it, a water stain, or worse, standing water. And that knot of panic just tightens in your stomach. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that feeling. We're going to break down exactly what happens in a water emergency and what it really takes to make it all right again. So let's dive in.
So let's just start with a quick question to get your brain working. When you think about things that can cause major catastrophic damage to a home, what's the first thing that pops into your head? What do you think is the number one reason people have to call their insurance company?
If your mind immediately jumped to a massive house fire or maybe a hurricane tearing through, well, that makes perfect sense, and you'd be in good company. But believe it or not, neither of those is the top dog.
That's right, it's water. More homes are damaged and more insurance claims are filed because of water than from fire or wind. It's kind of the silent, creeping disaster that can happen to absolutely anyone, anywhere. So, how does a disaster like this even begin? Let's take a look at all the different ways water can suddenly decide to become a very, very unwelcome guest in your home.
And the crazy thing is, it can come from anywhere. I mean, you've got the really dramatic stuff like a pipe bursting during a deep freeze, but then there's the everyday stuff, like a washing machine hose that just gives up the ghost. It could be a heavy storm pushing water in because the ground around your house doesn't slope the right way, or the ground itself shifts and cracks your foundation. It can drip down from a leaky roof, or, and this is the worst one, come up from a sewage backup. The point is, the threat is pretty much all around us.
But here's the thing, and this is probably the most important takeaway from this whole explainer. The initial flood, or bleak, that's not even the biggest problem. The real enemy, the thing that causes the most destruction, is time. The longer that water sits, the worse things get. And they get worse fast. Look at this timeline. In the first hour, just 60 minutes, drywall is already acting like a sponge, wicking up that moisture and starting to swell. Give it 24 hours, and you're not just fighting water anymore, you're fighting biology. Mold spores, which are everywhere, can activate and start to grow. Wait 48 hours, and things that could have been saved, like insulation or carpet, are often a total loss. And if you go past 72 hours, you're actually starting to risk the structural integrity of your home. The clock is absolutely ticking against you.
Now, when the pros show up, they don't just see water. They see categories. Category 1 is clean water. Think of a broken water supply line. It's not great, but it's not immediately harmful. Category 2 is gray water, say from an overflowing dishwasher. It's got detergents and other gunk in it that can make you sick. And then there's Category 3, black water. This is the serious one. We're talking sewage or floodwaters from a river. It is grossly contaminated with pathogens. Dealing with this is basically a hazmat situation.
Okay, so we know what we're up against. How do the professionals actually fight back? I'll tell you right now, it's a lot more than just a mop and a bucket. It's a full-on scientific process designed to get control of the situation and get it fast. First, let's clear something up that confuses a lot of people. You'll hear the words mitigation and restoration, and they are not the same thing. Mitigation is the emergency first aid. It's all the stuff you do immediately to stop the damage from getting any worse, like extracting the water. Restoration comes later. That's the full recovery, the rebuilding, the repairing, everything it takes to get your home back to exactly how it was before the disaster.
And yeah, there's a reason this is not a do-it-yourself job. Professionals come with a whole different toolkit. They have industry certifications, for starters. They use powerful truck-mounted extractors, not shop vacs. They have thermal imaging cameras to literally see moisture hiding inside your walls. They use massive commercial-grade dehumidifiers and air movers. And most importantly, they have moisture meters, so they know, they don't guess, when something is actually dry.
This whole high-tech response, it all boils down to a really clear 3-step playbook that creates a path from chaos back to normal. The entire journey pretty much always follows these 3 phases. Number 1, the emergency water extraction. Number 2, structural drying and monitoring. And number 3, the final repair and restoration. So let's quickly break down what each of those really means.
Step 1 is all about speed and volume. It is a pure brute force emergency response. The goal is simple. Get the immediate threat, all that standing water, out of there. Now. Using those powerful pumps stops that damage clock we were just talking about from ticking any further.
Step 2. This is where the real science kicks in. Because getting the standing water out is just the beginning. The real challenge is pulling all that hidden, soaked-in moisture out of the building materials themselves. This means strategically placing all that specialized equipment to create a perfect drying vortex, all while constantly using those meters to track the hidden moisture inside the walls and under the floors. And I've got to say, this part takes time. You absolutely cannot rush it. On average, you're looking at anywhere from 3 to 7 days for a proper structural dry out. It all depends on how soaked everything got. If you rush this step, you're basically just inviting hidden mold to come back and haunt you later.
And then finally, we get to step 3. Once everything is verifiably, scientifically proven to be bone dry, then and only then can the real rebuilding start. This is when the crews come in to replace drywall, put in new flooring, repaint, and really make your home feel like your home again, returning it to what they call its pre-loss condition.
But look, the story doesn't really end when the restoration crew packs up and leaves. Maybe the most important part of all this is empowering you, the homeowner, to spot trouble before it becomes a full-blown catastrophe.
Your house will almost always talk to you before it screams. You just have to know what to listen for. That persistent, musty smell you can't quite place? That's a sign. Paint or wallpaper that starts to bubble or peel? Big sign. Wood floors that start to warp or baseboards that look a little swollen? Huge sign. Or, those faint discolored spots on the ceiling. Even a sudden unexplained jump in your water bill could be telling you there's a hidden leak somewhere. These are the whispers before the flood.
One of the sources for this explainer put it perfectly. It said, by the time standing water appears, the structure has been compromised for months. The message there is crystal clear. You have to act on those early, subtle signs.
So I'll just leave you with this final question to think about. A surface might feel dry to the touch, your floor might look fine, but is the structure behind it, inside it, truly safe? Understanding that difference, well, that's the real key to protecting your biggest investment. Thanks for joining me.